Hey, I'm no advocate for violence, but you may as well do it this way rather than the other way. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a Colorado man who deleted himself near or at an amusement park instead of carrying out a mass shooting. Now, as I said from the beginning, I'm not an advocate for violence. I don't like that he had to flatline himself, that he had to delete himself, that he had to wipe himself off the face of the earth. I don't like that. I don't advocate for that. But if you are going to do it anyway, I would like for you to handle that situation aside from bringing anybody else into it. Because in a lot of these mass shootings, what happens? They go and take a bunch of innocent lives, then they take their own life. And then it'd be a note talking about, oh, I didn't want to be here anymore. I was feeling depressed. Well, look, if you're feeling those kind of feelings, deal with it over there rather than taking a bunch of innocent lives with you. Now, before we get into this particular story, let's take a look at this article just briefly. Then we're going to get to the video. You see what it says. Heavily armed man deleted himself rather than carry out attack at Colorado amusement park. And we may come back to this article, but you see what's going on here. Now, let's get to the actual news clip. If you want to see the clip in full, link as always will be in the description box. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Security scare. A heavily armed man was found dead in Colorado at a popular attraction. Rhiannon Alley is here with the latest. And Rhiannon, police are saying that he could have staged a devastating attack.
Good morning, Lindsay. That's right. Police say this man was not only heavily armed, he was also carrying several explosives and was found dead inside an amusement park. Police in Colorado identified the man overnight as Diego Barajas Medina. They say his body was found inside the women's bathroom at Glenwood Caverns Adventure Park on Saturday.
Okay, there's so many questions. Explosives. First of all, how did you even get in there? That's my question. Okay, I'm seeing it's a hilly, mountainous, wooded area. But is there no fencing? How did you get inside the apartment with all that stuff on you? That's what I want to know.
He had apparently entered the park before it even opened. Police say he was armed with an AR-style rifle, a semi-automatic handgun, and explosives, wearing body armor and tactical clothing. And that's not all. Police also say they found multiple improvised explosive devices in that man's vehicle. But investigators believe the man died of a self-inflicted gunshot, and authorities then searched the rest of the park, including the rides, for other explosives, but they didn't find anything. The weapons found on that man may have been ghost guns, which...
Now, before they get to the ghost guns thing, this does not appear to be a very secure location. I mean, some of these places, I understand why it's not a lot of security, meaning the barriers and walls and everything else. I understand why it's not a lot of security because you don't expect somebody to come in there and just start doing crazy things. Maybe I'm wrong about that. You guys, if you're familiar with the park in question at this Colorado Adventure Park, you guys let me know more about it in the comments below.
Do not have any serial numbers and therefore cannot be traced. Now, police say given the amount of preparation and the amount of weapons he had, it seems highly likely he intended to use them against the community and then, for whatever reason, decided not to. Still, so many questions that investigators will be looking to answer, George.
All right, so that's pretty much the video right there. Now, they're talking about the ghost guns. I want to touch on that topic just for a moment before we move forward. The ghost guns thing, I think, is a topic that is really inconsequential because this person had IEDs. I mean, this guy was probably making explosives in his home. So how are you going to stop that? You're talking about guns and illegal weapons, and guns are the problem. This guy had bombs. So obviously having a ban on weapons, having a ban on ghost guns, or somehow just waving the magic wand and eliminating all guns from society, was it going to make a difference? Because this guy had literal bombs in his car. He could have driven his car as a bomb through the amusement park and blown himself up. But again, I'm glad he decided to just go ahead and do it himself beyond taking any innocent lives with him. But again, I'm no advocate for people that self-delete or flatline or whatever. I say If you're having those kind of feelings, deal with it a different way. Try to figure out a way to save your life. But if you must do something like that, just don't bring others with you. Try to solve your own mental problems on your own. Maybe talk to a therapist. Talk to a professional that can help you with it rather than hurting innocent people. It's very simple. Now, I'm going to just read some of this. So the guy was 20 years old. I'm not quite sure I heard that in the original clip. Diego Barajas Medina, 20 years old, was found dead in the women's bathroom at Glenwood Caverns Adventure Park by a maintenance crew on Saturday morning before the park opened to the public. He died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. So yeah, nobody was in there with him. He came into the park before it opened. No signs of foul play aside from him just doing what he did. And then they found all that stuff. They found he was heavily armed. He obviously had a gun right there and did the self-flatlining. And then they looked in his vehicle. He has IEDs. He had all kind of stuff. So again, I'm glad that he handled his problem, unfortunate into the problem. I'm not going to be an advocate for anybody just dying like that. Could have been dealing with a real mental issue, but I'm glad that he didn't take others with him. Let's keep on going. Medina apparently entered the park while it was closed, armed with an AR-style rifle. It was always an AR rifle, right? AR rifle, ghost guns. Meanwhile, you had pipe bombs in your car. I mean, how did he have that? Obviously, probably made them at his house. But anyway, a semi-automatic handgun and explosives, and was wearing body armor and tactical clothing similar to what a police SWAT team member might wear. A message saying, "I'm not a killer, I just want to get into the caves," was written on the wall of the bathroom where Medina's body was found lying on the floor. Garfield County Sheriff Lou Valerio said nearby was a handgun and explosive devices, some real and some fake. The AR-style rifle was on the counter nearby, along with a duty belt holding several magazines. Valerio could not say for certain that Medina wrote the message. I'm sure it was him. Obviously dealing with some mental issues. There were no prior indications, either at home or at school, suggesting he was planning an attack. But the sheriff noted that investigators have not conducted an in-depth interviews yet. The FBI will help review Medina's phone records and social media postings as part of the investigation. So how do you know, if you've not done an investigation, how do you know there's no prior indications at home or at school that he was planning an attack? I mean, maybe nothing that you know of right now, but you got to do the investigation. Then you may figure out that he was on the radar, just like most of these guys are. The guy that did the shooting out there, where was that? Where the 18 in Maine, that guy was known to authorities. They visited his home, I believe, 6 weeks prior to the shooting because they feared he may carry out a mass shooting. That's the guy in Maine. Now, this guy did not carry out the shooting that he could have carried out in Colorado at a theme park. Quote, given the preparation, given the amount of weapons and ordnance he had, it almost seemed very highly likely he intended to use those against the community. Multiple improvised explosive devices, IEDs, were found in the vehicle used by Medina, police said. Authorities searched the rest of the park for other explosives, but suggested no others were found. Medina's body was removed Sunday after the scene was deemed safe. The park likely would have been crowded on the fall weekend during hunting season when people go to the mountains to see the changing autumn colors. Given the park's isolated location, which visitors take a gondola to normally, it would have been difficult to get any wounded to the hospital. Terrible. Medina was from the nearby town of Carbondale, where he lived with his mother and his brother. In a list of high school graduates published in a local newspaper in 2021, Medina said he planned to work for a year after graduation before attending Colorado Mountain College, a community college with several locations in Western Colorado. So that's what's going on. They said there was no known criminal history or encounters with police. The weapons found on Medina were ghost guns, which do not have serial numbers. That's kind of an inconsequential thing to say. I mean, I understand we got to talk about certain things, gun control, whatever. But again, this guy had IEDs on him. So I think having ghost guns is the least of your concern. The biggest thing is that he was able to get into the park somehow beyond any kind of security measure before the park opened. He had all kind of ordnance. He had a bunch of magazines loaded up. Like, that was the most important thing. Okay, Ad, we don't need that. but they're saying most of the stuff on them was some of the suspected explosives are fake, including several that look like hand grenades, but others are real. However, there was no evidence to suggest that explosive devices had been placed elsewhere in the park. Now, they believe he drove up to the park on a service road. The park, which is surrounded by state-owned public land, is on a mountain above the Colorado River in western Colorado. Its attractions include cave tours, an alpine coaster, and a pendulum swing ride perched on the edge of a cliff that sends riders over the river canyon. No employees or visitors were on the scene when Medina entered the park, according to a statement issued Monday by Glenwood Caverns, and his body was found inside of restricted areas where rides are located. So that's that. That's what's going on. This guy, 20 years old, heavily armed, appeared to have been in the position to carry out a mass shooting, but it didn't happen. Again, I'm gonna say it one more time as I close. I'm glad that he did not take others with him. It's unfortunate that he's gone, but look, I'd rather you handle your business over there by yourself rather than taking innocent lives with you. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what happened here or what did not happen at the amusement park in Colorado? Are you glad that this person did what they did away from others? Is it still sad? How did he have all that stuff? You got IEDs and everything else. Do you believe there was no signs this could have been happening? Because it looks like he'd been planning for a while. He had been gaining armaments. You don't just go to a gun store and buy all that in one day. You take time, but nobody noticed that this was in the background. Are we going to find out more through an investigation? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. It's unfortunate that he's gone, but it's fortunate that nobody else is gone. And I think that's the takeaway, because, again, too many of these incidents, what happens is somebody's upset about something, somebody has some kind of mental issue, and then they want to take it out on others. Now, you handle your business on your own. Don't try to bring everybody else into it. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.